I'm pretty sure there are no excuses that can be made by or for her this time, as J.K. Rowling has directly written transphobic tweets from her account.
No, Jamie, J.K. Rowling is not transphobic for simply stating biological facts. But hey, let's look at what Queen J.K. Rowling, the Queen of TERFs, has to say this time.
If sex isn't real, there is no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. Firstly, no one is trying to say that sex isn't real.
The binary is bullshit.
Is there something called biological sex?
We know intersex people exist and break down this binary.
And using this argument and trying to say that sex is the be-all and end-all and sex is the same as gender is very outdated. Some people might see me, a trans man, and say that due to the likelihood that my chromosomes are XX, not that I know or anybody else knows, that my sex is female. I'm just going to go through some points quickly about why this rhetoric is transphobic and, quite frankly, flawed.
Just for shits and giggles, let's look up the definition of sex. Let's look it up because there's a lot of miscommunication with this.
A binary is a system composed of two parts. A duality, a pair. In developmental biology, sex is binary. Here's why. An organism's sex is defined as the type of gamete their reproductive anatomy is organized to produce. Male bodies develop towards the production of small gametes, sperm, whereas female bodies develop towards the production of large gametes, ova. Because there are no intermediate gametes between sperm and eggs, such as the often joked about spurg or spegs, there are therefore only two sexes.
Well, there's that.
Intersex people are a very real thing.
Intersex people are not a third sex.
Why the hell does it matter?
This is a very common talking point among the trans activism community, so why does all of this matter? I mean, I can think of just a few things. Just a few things. Here's a list of all the human rights of females that radical trans activism is eliminating. Removing the legal right of females to assemble without the presence of males. Eliminating sex-based crime statistics. These people might identify as women, so they are trans women, but they are still male, and currently the female crime rates are climbing because of trans women or people just simply identifying as such. Removing the legal right of women to be free from the presence of males in public areas where nudity might occur. Removing the right of females to create reproductive clinics, rape crisis centers, support groups, and other programs specifically for females. Eliminating athletic programs, grant scholarships, and affirmative programs for females. Removing the legal right of females to prefer female-only providers for their intimate personal care requirements. Personally, I do not want a man or a male gynecologist up in my shit, you know, I'm just saying.
Making sex the be-all and end-all of experiences and who people are erases the lives and experiences of trans people, and that is invalidated.
JK and I actually agree with you here. I believe that's what she meant in that tweet. My life has been shaped by me being female. Could not be more true.
Have we forgotten that J.K. Rowling literally used a male-sounding name because her publishers said that young boys wouldn't read it if they knew she was a woman?
Being born female and living as a woman is very different than being born male and having gender dysphoria and going through that transition. I think everybody who has a healthy mind wouldn't disagree with that statement. They would agree with it. Your experience as someone whose sex is different than their gender is also different. As she said in the tweet, it is not hateful to see us as different.
And same-sex attraction is a term used by many anti-trans people as another way to invalidate trans people. It's a term used to describe me, a trans man who's in a relationship with a cis woman, as a lesbian couple.
This part is tricky because same-sex attraction actually, to me, actually means sex characteristics. I personally don't know anyone that's attracted to someone's ability to be able to produce eggs or sperm. That's not like, it's like, oh my god, she can produce eggs, that's so hot. As we learned earlier in the video, that's what sex means. Or maybe you can be. Maybe it's just me that, like, that's not why I like women. I like women for their secondary and primary sex characteristics. Not the ability to ovulate every month, but that's just me.
The alternative and correct way forward is to base attraction on gender. It's an inclusive term that does not mean you have to find trans people attractive. It just recognizes that genitals and chromosomes are not the only important things when it comes to attraction, because it recognizes the role that gender plays and accommodates trans people and our validity.
Jamie, if you mean gender as in sex characteristics, then I would agree with you. I just stated that. If you mean gender as in what you identify as, I would say no. Because in saying that, you are suggesting that a trans woman who looks like this and a trans woman who looks like this together would be in a lesbian relationship, and I would say Literally where? Like where? Make it make sense.
The next thing she tweeted truly baffled me. And this one was a sharing of an article about COVID and menstruation. And what J.K. Rowling had to say about this one was the following. People who menstruate. I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Womban? Wimpand? Woomud? Woomud. If you don't get it, J.K. Rowling is trying to be highly patronising by pretending to have forgotten the word woman when reading an article that uses the word people.
Here's a classic example of how female and woman could and should have different meanings if we are having conversations like this. For me personally, when I say the word female, I mean somebody that has the ability to produce eggs, someone that was born female. When I say woman, I mean somebody who is born female or not, that is living their life every day as a woman in society. Technically, J.K. Rowling should have used the word female here and would have been completely correct, but I think what she did is what a lot of people do and use the word female and woman interchangeably, which is why words matter. This tweet shows how a woman can simply be a social experience. In my opinion, somebody like Blair White has no clue at this point in her life what it's like to live daily life as a gay man. She walks around society, she is seen as a straight woman. She's seen as a woman who is dating a man, a straight woman. But Blair will never be female, and she knows that. That's not some ridiculous statement to make. It's not hateful. She knows that because she's not crazy.
And I used to menstruate. So yes, JK, people who menstruate is the right term to use. Some women menstruate, some don't. Some men menstruate, some don't. And some non-binary people menstruate, and some don't.
Actually, an easier way of saying that is that most females menstruate, or most females menstruate at some point in their life. Boom. Done. Once again, using female as a biological experience. Menstruation is a biological experience, so use the word female.
By being so rigid in her views and erasing the experiences and the identities of trans people, J.K. Rowling is also erasing the experiences of some cisgender women and intersex people. Sex is not binary, and we can't keep pretending like it is.
No, Jamie, sex is binary. Sperm, eggs, binary. Done.
Equal rights for trans people does not mean less rights for women, or cisgender people, or anybody else for that matter.
Do I need to get back to my list? I'm done here. I wasn't even planning on posting this video, but so many of you wanted me to react to it. If you guys enjoy these videos on my page, please make sure to subscribe down below, and also, if you can, support me on my Patreon page. YouTube demonetizes most of my content on here, unfortunately, because we do have controversial conversations. Tons of perks over on my Patreon page for you guys as well, including bonus videos and Skype calls. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys back here in a few days with a brand new video. Until then, I love you so. Bye. Happy Pride.